Hello, everyone. Look at your shoes. Are you wearing Adidas with the 3 stripes? Or are you wearing Puma with the jumping cat? Most people think these are just 2 different companies competing in the market, but the truth is much darker. These 2 giant empires were built by 2 brothers who hated each other, Adolf Dassler and Rudolf Dassler. They were born in the same house. They worked in the same room. But they died as enemies. Their hatred was so strong that it split their hometown in half. People in their town would look down at your feet before they spoke to you. If you wore the wrong shoes, they wouldn't talk to you. Today, we are going to tell the story of the greatest rivalry in sports history. It is a story about family, betrayal, and the price of success. Let's go to a small town in Germany called Herzogenaurach. In the early 1920s, the Dassler brothers started making shoes in their mother's laundry room. The 2 brothers were perfect partners. Adolf, who everyone called Adi, was the quiet craftsman. He was a genius at designing shoes. He only cared about quality. Rudolf, who was called Rudy, was the loud salesman. He was charming and full of energy. He knew how to sell anything. Adi made the shoes and Rudy sold them. Together, they created the Gebrüder Dassler Schuhfabrik, which means the Dassler brothers' shoe factory. Their first big success came in 1936. The Olympic Games were held in Berlin. It was the time of Nazi Germany. Adolf Hitler wanted to show the world that Aryan athletes were the best. But Adi Dassler didn't care about politics. He just wanted the best athlete to wear his shoes. He took a risk. He approached an African-American runner named Jesse Owens. He gave Jesse a pair of handmade spiked shoes. Jesse Owens wore those shoes and won 4 gold medals. The world was shocked. And the Dassler shoes became famous overnight. Sales exploded. The brothers became rich. But money often brings trouble. As the business grew, the brothers started to fight. Their wives didn't get along. They argued about money. They argued about who was more important. But the real break happened during World War II. One night, the Allied forces were bombing the town. Adolf and his wife climbed into a bomb shelter. Rudolf and his family were already there. When Adolf entered the shelter, he said, "The dirty bastards are back again." Adolf was talking about the enemy planes bombing the city. But Rudolf thought Adolf was talking about him and his family. Rudolf screamed, "You are calling me a bastard?" Adolf tried to explain, but Rudolf didn't listen. He felt insulted. This misunderstanding created a crack that would never be fixed. After the war, the trust was completely gone. Rudolf believed that Adolf had tried to send him to prison to take over the company. They realized they could not live together anymore. In 1948, they gathered their employees. They said, "Pick a side. You can stay with Adi or you can go with Rudy." Most of the shoemakers stayed with Adi. Most of the sales staff went with Rudy. They split the factory. Adi named his new company using his nickname, Adi, and the first 3 letters of his last name, Das. So it became Adidas. Rudolf tried to do the same. He called his company Ruda, but it didn't sound good, so he changed it to Puma, representing a fast and agile beast. From that day on, the town of Herzogenaurach was divided by a river. Adidas was on one side of the river. Puma was on the other side. It became known as the town of bent necks. Why? Because people would always look down at your shoes to see which side you were on. There were Adidas bakeries and Puma bakeries, Adidas pubs and Puma pubs. If you worked for Adidas, you didn't marry someone from Puma. It was like a civil war, but with sneakers. The rivalry pushed them to innovate. In 1954, the World Cup final was played in Switzerland. West Germany faced the mighty Hungary. It was raining heavily. The field was muddy. Adi Dassler had a secret weapon. He invented shoes with screw-in studs. This meant the players could change the spikes to longer ones when the ground was wet. The German players wore Adidas. The Hungarian players wore regular boots. In the mud, the Germans had better grip. They won the game. It was called the Miracle of Bern. Adidass was seen as the genius behind the victory. Adidas became the biggest sports brand in the world. Rudolph and Puma were furious. They had missed a golden opportunity, but Puma had its revenge later. They focused on signing the best individual athletes. They signed Pelé, the greatest soccer player of all time. Actually, there is a funny story about this. Before the 1970 World Cup, Adidas and Puma made a secret peace pact. They both agreed, let's not sign Pelé. He is too expensive. If we start a bidding war, we will both go bankrupt. So they shook hands. The Pelé Pact was made. But Rudolph broke the promise. He secretly paid Pelé a huge amount of money. But he asked Pelé to do one specific thing. Just before the kickoff of the final match, with millions of people watching on TV, Pelé asked the referee to stop the game for a second. He knelt down to tie his shoelaces. The cameras zoomed in. The whole world saw the golden Puma stripe on his shoes. It was a marketing masterpiece. Adidass was so angry he didn't speak for days. The war continued for decades. The brothers sued each other hundreds of times. They tried to steal each other's athletes. Sadly, they never reconciled. Rudolph died in 1974. Adolf died 4 years later in 1978. Even in death, they stayed apart. They are buried in the same cemetery, but at opposite ends as far away from each other as possible. It wasn't until 2009, 60 years after the split, that the employees of Adidas and Puma played a friendly soccer match to officially end the feud. The brothers are gone, but their legacy remains. Their competition drove them to create better shoes, better technology, and a global sports culture. Without their hatred, we might not have the sneakers we love today. The story of the Dassler brothers teaches us a powerful lesson. Competition can make you great. It can push you to be your best. But unchecked pride can destroy a family. They built empires, but they lost a brother. Was it worth it? That is a question only they can answer. Thank you for listening to this dramatic story. Next time you tie your shoelaces, remember the two brothers who started it all. See you in the next episode.